Let me ask you something strange. When was the last time you did absolutely nothing? Not scrolling your phone? Not planning your day? Not worrying about yesterday? I mean nothing. Just sitting, breathing, existing. If your mind immediately tried to answer that question with a list, congratulations. That's exactly what we're about to talk about. In a world that never shuts up, silence has become suspicious. Stillness has become rare. And meditation? Well, it's often misunderstood as some vague spiritual trend, something reserved for monks or yoga teachers. But what if I told you this simple ancient practice is doing things to your brain that modern science is still struggling to fully grasp? In the next few minutes, you're going to discover what really happens inside your brain when you meditate, and more importantly, why it might be the most important habit you never built. So take a deep breath, seriously, right now. Inhale, exhale. Let's begin. Our story starts not with religion, not with self-help, but with a question that puzzled neuroscientists for decades. Can you actually change your brain just by thinking differently? For centuries, the brain was seen as fixed, like wet cement that dries with age. Once set, it stays that way. But in the early 2000s, a quiet revolution was brewing. Researchers began putting long-term meditators, some with tens of thousands of hours of practice, into fMRI machines. What they saw changed everything. In a study at Harvard, scientists found that just 8 weeks of mindfulness meditation was enough to literally reshape the brain. Not metaphorically, literally. The participants meditated for 30 minutes a day, and after 2 months, MRI scans showed an increase in gray matter in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for learning, memory, and emotional regulation. But that's not all. The amygdala, the region associated with fear and stress, actually shrank. Think about that. Stressful world. Same job, same bills, same external pressure. But the internal machinery started changing. The fight or flight center cooled down. The calm and clarity center bulked up. Now pause. Imagine if you went to the gym and after 8 weeks, you literally grew a new bicep. That's what meditation does to your brain. But from the inside. Still not impressed? Let's go deeper. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network, or DMN for short. This is your internal narrator, the voice in your head that replays the past, imagines the future, judges you, compares you, doubts you. It's active when you're not focused on anything in particular, which for most of us is most of the time. This default network has been linked to anxiety, rumination, even depression. But during meditation, that network starts to quiet down. Long-term meditators show decreased activity in the DMN. They're still thinking, but they're not stuck in loops. They're not being dragged by thoughts. They're observing them, like watching clouds pass instead of getting caught in the storm. And here's the kicker. Even beginner meditators start to show this neural quieting after just a few sessions. In one remarkable experiment, participants with no prior experience were guided through mindfulness training for only a few days. The result? Reduced activity in the DMN and increased connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and other regions of the brain. Translation? They were becoming more aware, more present, more mentally flexible. And that's just the neuroscience. The real transformation, the one you can feel, often sneaks up in everyday life. You get less reactive in arguments. You notice your breath when you're stressed. You don't take that angry email personally. You pause before you speak. It's like gaining a superpower you didn't know you were missing. The power to respond instead of react. To choose your behavior instead of being hijacked by it. Let's be clear. Meditation is not about becoming some blissed-out robot who never gets upset. It's about developing a relationship with your own mind, one based on curiosity rather than judgment. It's about realizing that thoughts are just thoughts, sensations are just sensations, and you are the awareness behind them. Now you might be wondering, why isn't everyone doing this? Well, the truth is, the hardest part about meditation is also the most ironic. It's simple, too simple, and our brains are addicted to complexity, distraction, stimulation. We expect change to come from effort, sweat, struggle. But here's a practice that asks you to do nothing, to just sit and notice and breathe. And that goes against everything our culture worships. But here's where the discovery really happens, because if you stick with it, even for just a few minutes a day, you begin to notice something profound. Beneath the mental noise, beneath the inner critic, beneath the stress, the fear, the overthinking, there's a space. And in that space, there's peace, clarity, intelligence, compassion. Not something you have to create, something that was always there. Meditation doesn't add something new to your life. It reveals what's already been there, covered by layers of habit and distraction. The science is compelling. The results are measurable. But the real proof? It's how you feel when you stop. Now, I won't pretend this is easy. Your mind will wander. You'll get bored. You'll judge yourself. That's normal. That's part of it. In fact, noticing that your mind wandered is a win. It means you woke up. You stepped out of autopilot for a moment. And that's meditation. It's not the stillness. It's the return to stillness. Again and again. And with each return, you're rewiring your brain to be more present, more resilient, more human. So if you've ever thought meditation wasn't for you, if you've tried it once and said, I can't stop thinking, then congratulations. You're exactly the kind of person it was made for. Because meditation isn't about escaping your thoughts. It's about changing your relationship to them. And the science is clear that one small change changes everything. So, here's your invitation. Don't wait for a retreat. Don't wait for the perfect app or the perfect mindset. Try this. 2 minutes, eyes closed. Breathe. And when your mind drifts, bring it back. That's it. That's the rep. That's the practice. And over time, that practice becomes peace. That peace becomes clarity. And that clarity, it becomes who you are. Because meditation doesn't make you better at meditating. It makes you better at life. Now, if this video made you think, even just for a moment, consider making meditation not just something you heard about, but something you lived, because inside your brain, a revolution is just one breath away.